Hello, everyone. This is Lexi Gribble, the coordinator for National History Day in Indiana. We're going to take a few moments for this first of our monthly teacher office hours. This one is all about going over the 2025-2026 program information. So I'm going to share with you some information about the program and go over some of the details. And then if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we're going to go ahead and look at our PDF for the 2025-2026 season. For all teachers, I release and put together a PDF that provides all the information you might need to get started for this year's program. So I'm going to go ahead and go through those and talk about all the information that is provided within that, answer any questions that might come up. So, if you are part of our mailing list, then you would have received this PDF. But if you are new to NHDI and you're interested in receiving this PDF to have it, you can always email me, nhdI@indianahistory.org, and I'm happy to provide it for you. So every year we go ahead and we start off with the theme. So this year's theme is Revolution, Reaction, Reform in History. You can see our little logo for this year. We always create a new logo to go with the theme, and so you'll see that on a lot of our materials for this year. So with National History Day, as you know, the projects have to center around a particular theme, and all projects this year are going to focus on revolution, reaction, reform, and history. Now, I've gotten a lot of questions about this theme. It's a really interesting theme to think about because there's three parts to it: the revolution, the reaction, the reform. And you do have to consider all three when students are analyzing and looking at their topics. But do you have to address all three? Not necessarily. It really depends upon does the topic and does the project address all three. If it doesn't, that's fine, but your students need to consider that and think about that when they are crafting their projects. So it might be a project that talks about two, it might be one that talks about all three. It really just depends. When we look at this particular theme, it is important to think about that really one does lead to the other. Revolution can lead to a reaction or can lead to reform, and they all kind of can connect in that way. So to help your students understand this theme, we have a variety of resources from ourselves at the Indiana Historical Society, as well as the National History Day, the national program. So we have the annual theme book. This is released by the national office. Fun thing about this year is we actually have an excerpt from it about a topic idea. So you can go ahead and check that out. There's an Indiana topic within that theme book, which is really cool. They always make a theme video. I think it's really interesting and helpful to give your students kind of the setting the stage. You can always start with that theme video. And I will say, actually, this topic brainstorming sheet here listed last actually connects with the video. And so students can fill it out while watching the video. So that's a helpful tip there. From the Indiana perspective, every year we release a master guide and we release a topic guide. That master guide is kind of a whole document to lead you from start to finish with your students. A variety of worksheets, research resources, all those kind of things to help your students at each step of the research process. We also provide a topic guide with over 100 different Indiana topics that students might be interested in exploring. There's a variety of reasons for students to do local or Indiana-related topics. I'll talk about special prizes and how that can relate in a little bit, but it is a great way for students to feel connected to the state they live in, and there's a variety of topics that can be really interesting for revolution, reaction, reform. So this is a really good place to start to kind of get everything and get the scope. This is our regional map for the year. So every year the state is broken down into different regions, and students start participating in contests from the regional level. And then if they advance from the regional level to the state level, they'd move on to the state contest. So you'll see here the breakdown. We are in 4 different regions this year. We have our North region with our contest up here in Mishawaka. Then we have our North Central region with our contest here in Carmel. Our South Central region with our contest in Franklin, and then our South region with our contest in Hanover. So you'll see those. And so if you have any questions about your particular school or questions about those things, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to provide information about that. And then we'll scroll down here and you can see the contest dates and deadlines. So you'll see that our contests, our regional contests take place from about mid-February to mid-March, and then we have our state contest in about mid-April. So this is our contest season. You'll see we start up north, then we go to the South Central and the South, and then we end with the North Central. So you'll see the contest date listed here. The second date you'll see is the registration deadline. That's when students need to have their accounts created and they need to be registered with their projects. And then this second date is the deadline to submit materials. Now, we're going to have another teacher office hour later this year, going over all of that information of how do students register, what information do they need to submit. But these are the deadlines to share with your students and to start putting on your calendars if your students are interested in participating. So it's a really great way to keep yourself on track, is to think about the regional contest date and use that to guide due dates and deadlines and things like that for your own students in your own classroom. Contest participation fee, every student to participate, it costs $15. So even if students are in a group project, it will still be $15 per student participating. But that's the only fee that they have to pay to participate for the whole entire contest season. So even if they make it to the state contest, they do not have to pay an additional fee that covers their participation at the regional and state level. Now, that does not include what it costs to participate for the national contest if they were to make it to the national contest, but that is a separate contest outside of Indiana. So for participation in Indiana, it costs $15. In terms of registration and submission, we're going to go over all of this in more detail later on in the season, but just so you're aware of what I'm looking for, what needs to be submitted for students to participate. You have registration closing about 2 weeks prior to the contest. You'll see, I'm going to scroll up for just a second here. All of these are about 2 weeks out, but sometimes the date shifts because of President's Day or things like that. So this is something to keep in mind. There's no late registration, so it's important that students are registered on time so that way we can get materials out to judges, because we try to give judges a good amount of time to review the materials prior to the contests. So registration closes, and then about 2 days later, we ask for materials. So that's submitting things like their website links, their papers, their paperwork. So that's their process paper and their annotated bibliography. Those things are due because we give those to judges so they can start reviewing prior to contest. This is super helpful. So the judges have a sense of the students' projects when they get to contest day, and it creates for a more robust and more engaging interview when the judges already have an understanding of what the students' projects are going to be about. Last year, we started the process of using the online feedback system for judges. So judges were started typing their feedback instead of writing. We are continuing to make that full transition. So this year, our goal is to have all judges, most if not all judges, use the online feedback system, meaning that all feedback will be provided through accounts on the ZFair system. What happens then is usually they submit that feedback to us, and then we release it to everyone the following Monday after the contest. So it's a great way for us to share that feedback and also make sure that it's available for students and teachers to review after the contest. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. We're going to have a teacher office hour where I talk about ZFairs in a little bit more depth, particularly from the teacher's perspective, so you can get an idea of all of the things that you can do using your registration and ZFairs account to participate in our contests. As I said, and obviously this is our monthly office hour, so this is how it's going to roll pretty much every month. I'm going to start with some type of presentation, just a short 10 to 15 minute max presentation about something related to National History Day, something that is timely and helpful for what you're working on, hopefully with your students at that time. And so this is the goal, and then the rest of the time is meant to be, hey, if you have any questions, if you want to talk about things. It's also a chance for other NHDI teachers to meet each other, and know that other people around the state are doing this, and here's what they're doing, here's how they're approaching it. It's an opportunity for all of us to learn how to better work and implement the program. So obviously today is a program and season overview. Next month, I'm going to do a bigger theme overview where I talk a little bit more in depth about the theme. I already gave a little bit of a preview, but this is going to be a little bit more, here's how you can help your students connect with it. Here's some examples of how to make it work for your students, that kind of stuff. We'll talk about research. We'll talk about developing that historical argument. That's kind of the key point, and the key thing that students need is that argument or that claim. We'll then talk about registration and contest season information. I'll have a whole one presentation about Z-Fairs, how to use it from the teacher perspective. We will then talk about how to help your students review their feedback, and then differences between state and regionals. So depending on what's going on, what's happening in the season, hopefully the office hours will align with that. So if you can't join and see the presentation, I will record everyone just as I'm recording this one, and we will then share those out via YouTube, and they'll be available for teachers to review at any time. So hopefully we're building a repository of really good teacher information for you guys to use whenever you have time. As a reminder, we are here at the Indiana Historical Society here to help you. So we offer in-class and virtual visit options for your students. They are available on a first come, first served basis. We have a Google form that you fill out, and then we schedule a visit with you, and then we come to your classroom. So we can come and talk about, the basics of NHD and how it works. Introduce it to your students. Talk about the theme. We can help with research assistance, helping your students find sources or where to, give them guidance on where to look. And then we can also provide time for your students to ask us questions about their projects. This is really the key, the main visit that we do towards the end of the year, because it's mainly just we'll come and your students can ask us questions. So a variety of classroom visits are available to you, and all you have to do is sign up, and we will work with you to come and see your students. It is important to note that you need to request this at least 2 weeks in advance, so that way we can get you on the schedule and we can plan that out. Last but not least is special prizes. At the state contest, we have a variety of special prizes. So a lot of students will, choose a project with a special prize in mind. It's can sometimes be motivating. Prizes range from about $250 to $500. They don't have to place first, second, or third at state, but they do have to make it to state. So students who make it to state, we release a special prize application, and then they apply, and then we help select those special prizes, and we give those out at the state award ceremony. So it's a really cool way to get students to think about making their project in a new way, and the full list can be found on our website. Last thing I want to mention that's not available on here is we do have our judge sign up. So if you're a teacher and you don't really know, but you want to know more about the program, the best way to do that is to judge. Judging is a really great opportunity to see student work and see how the program works. Our judge sign up link is available on our website, and it is live right now. So please feel free to go and sign up or share with somebody who you think might be interested in judging. Okay, so that's a little bit of an overview of the contest season, some basic information. If you're interested in more information about National History Day, or if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, NHDI@indianahistory.org, and we look forward to helping support you and your students. Thank you.